Let me just start by saying that I am all about Thanksgiving. The word, the concept. I'm all about the fall celebration of family and togetherness and gratitude. I mean, my birthday is on November 26th, for goodness sake. So, yeah, a lot of years, my birthday actually falls on the day, on the holiday, the United States Thanksgiving holiday. But as someone who continues to be intentional on my journey toward cultural competence, cultural excellence, and student achievement, I realized several years ago that a deep dive into understanding the nuances and the controversy around the Thanksgiving holiday was necessary. I've shared several times that earlier in my teaching career, I taught in Red Springs, North Carolina, where the majority population of people are members of the Lumbee Native American tribe. And so, my students, the vast majority of my students are members of the Lumbee Native American tribe. And having that lens encouraged me to ask some complex questions. But I didn't stop asking questions just because I stopped teaching those students. No, every single year I am asking questions. You know why? Because new stories are being shared. New research is being uncovered and information that is important for me as someone who has a desire to be culturally competent. I need to be aware of these things. And as someone who leads and facilitates workshops around cultural excellence, as someone who is sitting shoulder to shoulder with teachers designing lesson plans that are inclusive and that are culturally excellent, lessons that allow students to see and be seen, it is important that I am continuously asking questions because the answers inform my practice. They inform the way that I show up in this space. Now, official documents mark the first Thanksgiving celebration as happening in November 1863 after Abraham Lincoln made an official proclamation as a result of the steady insistence, persistence, and petitioning of Sarah Josepha Hale, who is now known as the mother of Thanksgiving. She petitioned not only Abraham Lincoln, but several other US presidents for more than a decade. And obviously, her persistence paid off. According to history.com, Hale is quoted as saying that she believed that such a unifying measure could help ease growing tensions and divisions between the northern and southern parts of the country, because obviously this was during the time of the Civil War. Long before her petition, though, many documented days of Thanksgiving were celebrated throughout the country. It wasn't just one day. There were many days where people set aside time to offer thanksgiving and to have an attitude of gratitude. But again, the official Thanksgiving holiday was first celebrated in 1863. But there is also this business of the traditional Thanksgiving story that we all know so well. And it is indeed a myth. So let's just be very clear about that. It is a myth, and that fact has been shared quite extensively over the last few years. I would encourage you to look up the information, find out about the real Thanksgiving story, as well as the controversy around the celebration of the Thanksgiving holiday. I will personally be sharing more information about the National Day of Mourning on the next solo episode. So be looking out for that. But in the meantime, go ahead and start doing some research around that. I'm going to go ahead and pause the history lesson here and talk more specifically about how the narrative can be shifted around the Thanksgiving lessons taught in classrooms everywhere. Traditional Thanksgiving lessons have been focused around the historically inaccurate and culturally harmful Thanksgiving story, as well as family gatherings and food aligned with mainstream culture in the United States. So many differing cultural traditions and practices, important aspects of the day long celebration, are omitted. In addition, a short term, short sighted focus on the concept of Thanksgiving is a missed opportunity for deeper culture and character building and development of social and emotional wellness. So, how can you shift this from a missed opportunity to a moment of impact? I'm so glad you asked. The most powerful lessons help students see the why behind the what by doing three things. The first, these lessons help students become aware of their beliefs and perspectives, their lenses, their identity, and their culture, to be more specific. Secondly, powerful lessons help students become aware of the perspectives of their peers, those that are local, sitting literally right next to them, those that are in the same city, but also their peers nationally and globally. And finally, the third thing that powerful lessons help students to do is to understand how this greater concept has impacted the world on some level or could impact the world going forward. So, designing Thanksgiving lessons with this lens will allow you to take advantage of the powerful opportunity to connect your content to the students and teach them a lifelong skill, the skill of keeping an attitude of gratitude. In order to do this, however, you need to ask yourself three questions as well. That first question: what was I taught about Thanksgiving in school and why? The second question: what have I historically taught about Thanksgiving in my classroom and why? And the third question: what's the point? What's the point of teaching about the Thanksgiving holiday as it is traditionally presented? As a coach, I try to give teachers perspective on this, right? And so many times as I am coaching teachers and facilitating workshops, I get this question around the importance of, or how do we incorporate these different Thanksgiving themed lessons? Should we, shouldn't we? Yes, no, maybe. What does this look like? And my answer is the question: why? What do your students stand to gain from learning about this holiday? How are you teaching the holiday? Is there a focus on the historically inaccurate Thanksgiving story? And if there is truly a desire to teach students about Thanksgiving, is there not a way, right, about this concept of Thanksgiving? Is there not a way to do it without including that story? Also, if there is truly this desire to help students understand the concept of Thanksgiving and gratitude, why is this practice only initiated in November and then largely terminated in December? How is this concept of Thanksgiving connected to the content you teach? And how will that connection allow for a deeper understanding and appreciation of advances made in all the disciplines that are studied in school? How can expanding this understanding of Thanksgiving also lead to greater conversations about celebrations and the importance of Thanksgiving to people around the world? Because the United States is not the only state, not the only country, excuse me, that celebrates Thanksgiving or sets aside days and moments to offer expressions of gratitude. So, how can we open up this conversation to explore what gratitude and Thanksgiving looks like in various countries around the world? If you want to create powerful Thanksgiving lessons, it's important to begin with honest reflection with the intention of sifting through uncomfortable truths to provide an accurate, respectful, and purposeful learning experience for your students. Remember that just because you're uncomfortable does not mean you're unsafe. Honestly, it's quite the contrary. Sifting through the uncomfortable spaces will likely leave you in a place of greater safety. And when you are in a safer space, then you are willing to explore more and your lessons become richer. The learning experience that the students have becomes much more connected, not only to just these arbitrary numbers or dates or whatever, but they become connected to who the students are currently and who they hope to be. So that is my challenge and encouragement to you, my challengement, if you will. Ask questions, seek truth, ask more questions, and then teach truth. All right, until next Wednesday, cheers, my friend.